On January 27th, 2026, the Doomsday Clock was set to 85 seconds to midnight, the closest it has ever been in its entire history. Not 7 minutes. Not 2 minutes. 85 seconds. A group of Nobel laureates and nuclear scientists looked at the state of the world and decided we have never been this close to the end. But what does that actually mean in real terms? How many nuclear weapons would it take to erase the United States from the map? Not damage it, not cripple it, erase it. First, let's get one thing straight. The United States spans over 3.8 million square miles with more than 330 million people. You could drop a nuclear weapon in rural Montana and barely make the news. So military planners aren't thinking about turning every inch of soil to glass. What they're targeting is far more specific and far more vulnerable. The goal is to destroy three things: military capability, command and control, and critical infrastructure. Knock those out and the country has effectively ceased to exist. Russia currently has around 4,380 nuclear warheads in its military stockpile, with roughly 1,549 deployed and ready on missiles and bombers. The question is, how many would it actually take? Any serious strike plan starts with military targets. Russian doctrine calls for hitting Minuteman III missile fields in Montana, North Dakota, and Wyoming, strategic bomber bases, submarine ports, and command centers including Washington, D.C. and the Pentagon. Many of these facilities are hardened to survive a blast, meaning multiple warheads are needed per target. The number adds up fast. After military sites come communications hubs, naval bases, radar installations, and nuclear production facilities like the Pantex plant in Texas. Then come the cities: New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Houston, targeted for their population, industry, and political value. So how many warheads does all that require? Here's where it gets alarming. Around 200 warheads dropped across major cities could kill roughly 100 million Americans and destroy nearly all energy, communications, and transportation infrastructure. That's not 2,000 weapons, that's 200. At that point, a third of the population is gone and modern society has stopped functioning. But here's something most people never consider. You might not need to hit a single city at all. A nuclear warhead of just 40 to 60 kilotons, about 4 times the size of the Hiroshima bomb, detonated high above the atmosphere would generate an electromagnetic pulse, or EMP. No fireball, no mushroom cloud visible from the ground, just a silent pulse that fries every power grid, every transformer, and every connected electronic system across the country. Within days, emergency generators run dry, water systems fail, food supplies vanish, and hospitals go dark. This isn't theory. In 1962, the U.S. detonated a nuclear weapon 250 miles above the Pacific. Over 1,000 miles away in Hawaii, it knocked out electricity and disrupted telephone lines. That was a side effect. Aimed deliberately over the U.S. mainland, the result would be unthinkable. Princeton University ran a full simulation of a U.S.-Russia nuclear exchange using real force postures and real targets. Their finding: over 90 million people dead or critically injured within the first few hours. Not the first few days. The first few hours. So what's the actual number? How many nukes to truly erase the United States? To destroy military capability alone? Somewhere between 150 and 300 well-placed warheads. To collapse civilian infrastructure and kill tens of millions? Around 200. To trigger total societal breakdown through an EMP strike? Potentially just a handful, delivered above the atmosphere where no defense system can easily reach them. There is no single number that equals erased. What exists instead is a threshold. Cross it, and the United States as a functioning civilization stops existing, even if the land itself survives. And that threshold is far lower than most people want to believe. The Doomsday Clock sits at 85 seconds to midnight. The scientists who set it aren't doing it for drama. They're doing it because these numbers are real, the weapons exist, and the threshold for catastrophe is well within reach of what multiple countries already have armed and ready today. So there you have it. The U.S. doesn't need to absorb 5,000 warheads to cease functioning. The number that changes everything is far smaller and far more achievable than any of us would want to admit.